Hey, everybody. Hope you are doing well. We are continuing our coverage in the Bryan Kohberger case. And Jennifer Coffindaffer coming out with a tweet about Dylan Mortensen apparently out drinking. And also, before we get done with this video, one other thing is that Kohberger's trial coming up with a December 1st deadline on something. I want to share that information with you as well. First is this Jennifer Coffindaffer tweeting says a lot is being made over a video of Dylan Mortensen drinking with girlfriends. Now, I haven't seen the video. I don't plan on watching the video. I'm certainly not going to play the video. I think that some of this exploitation of the survivors, maybe you would call it, that were inside of the house when the evil atrocity of Xana, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee took place, trying to scrutinize every single action that they do for the subsequent 5 years of their life following this is absolutely ridiculous. And in my opinion, she was just a college student who happened to be in a house where something really evil happened. She had nothing to do with it. And she has to be overwhelmed with survivor's guilt and realizing that her closest best friends are no longer living and she was inches away from death herself. And the fact that everybody on the internet thinks they should control her life is terrible. So a lot is being made over a video apparently of her drinking with some friends. I didn't watch the video. I'm not going to. Isn't one of the reasons the murder of Xana, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee is so tragic is because they were robbed of the very moments Dylan is believed to be enjoying. Now, the assumption is that people are upset that she's having enjoyable moments. I think she should be able to enjoy some moments hanging out with friends. She can't be stuck in the trauma of what happened forever, although I think she probably is a little bit still dealing with everything that happened. That doesn't mean she needs to shut out fun. So Jennifer Coffindaffer says, let's just go over this. She's 21, okay? It means she's allowed of age to drink. She survived a murderous rampage at her home where four of her friends were slaughtered with a K-bar knife. I mean, that's traumatizing to think that right above your head in a house that you have lived in, your roommates were ruthlessly murdered. Okay. That's traumatizing. She survived that. It's now November 27th. It's been 1 year and 2 weeks. So 54 weeks since this murder took place. So over a year. She's struggled with survivor's guilt, according to the family. I'm sure that she has. Think about that. What would you feel like if you were in the house and survived and four of the people in the house died? You're like, why me? How come I'm the one that gets to live? And every single thing you do, you'd be probably thinking like, is it okay that I'm enjoying this? Is it okay that I'm doing this? Is it okay that I'm continuing school? Is it okay that I'm out with friends? Is it okay that I went to this baseball game? One of the survivors went to a baseball game 6 months ago and had to go kind of incognito, and everybody on the internet was up in an uproar. How dare they enjoy a baseball game? It's just crazy to me. She's struggled with survivor's guilt. She's been virtually unseen since the carnage took place at 1122 King Road. She wouldn't even speak at the funerals because of everything that was going on, this nasty atrocity that was going on, and all the people on the internet literally trying to blame her for it, as if she had anything to do with it. So she had the youth pastor of the church read a letter at the funeral on her behalf. Does anybody remember that? Where they had a funeral for the victims, they actually had Dylan and Bethany both had the youth pastor from the church read their letters about what they thought was going on from their perspective, because they knew that everybody would pick them apart if they went on stage and shared anything. She said, does everyone just expect this young woman to live in misery for the rest of her life? Great question. And if you're one of those people who do, shame on you. If that is your stance, you will get your wish to a degree, because she will be plagued the rest of her life with the memories of this tragedy. Absolutely, 100%. There's no escaping that. Jennifer says, I'm glad to see that she's living, smiling, enjoying friends. She's 21 and at what should be one of the most exciting and fun-filled times of her life. I hope she finds a smile every day and enjoys her life to the fullest. Do you? And that's my question in the comment section. Let me know, do you think she enjoys to be smiling and living her life to the fullest? I certainly
I
do.
get
Now,
my
in other
exact
news, I have a video I'm going to play for you. We're going to unpack it from News Nation, talking about the Kohberger trial. The judge is going to rule on relevance and privacy concerns. And the woman that's in this video, I can't even remember her name off the top of my head. not this woman, the woman that they're interviewing or talking about this. Usually when she talks, I don't agree with basically anything that she says. So we'll see what she says.
For this week in the case of a man who allegedly stabbed four Idaho college students to death last year. On December 1st, this Friday, that is, the prosecution must turn over any DNA evidence they're using to convict Bryan Kohberger. Kohberger is accused of murdering Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogen, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin in their home where they were sleeping. More than a month later, investigators arrested Kohberger at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. He was extradited to Idaho and now faces 4 charges of first-degree murder. For more on this case and upcoming trial, I'm now joined by trial attorney and legal expert Misty Maris. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, the DNA is connected to the genetic genealogy investigators used to identify Kohberger as a suspect. What do you think Kohberger's defense team wants to do with this information, and what are they going to try to argue?
So, this is absolutely critical for the defense to get every single document, piece of information relating to this investigative genetic genealogy. Why? Well, this is the process that was used initially to identify Bryan Kohberger as a suspect. So, of course, all of that information is going to go into the ultimate defense strategy, and they're going to be looking for ways to potentially get some of that evidence out of the courtroom when the case goes to trial. Keep in mind, this discovery dispute dates back to May. This is a it's kind of a new way of identifying suspects in the course of investigations. The way this is done is DNA is taken from a
Everybody knows how it's done.
crime scene and a family tree is built. And that family tree can identify certain individuals. In this case, ultimately,
When people are going on the news to talk about this stuff, they really need a microphone. She's clearly just talking into her computer. It's really bad audio.
they got to Bryan Kohberger. Now, the prosecution is saying that there's several reasons why this does not need to be turned over to the defense. So this December 1st, the judge is going to review everything and make a determination about what is required to go to the defense for the defense to move forward with trying this case.
Well, I was reading that there's privacy concerns handing over genetic genealogy like this.
I agree with that. There are some privacy concerns, and it's something that I think is going to be really unfair to distant relatives of Bryan Kohberger. I think one of the things that's going to potentially emerge in this case, if they agree uh, the to the defense's demands, which is to hand over everything, and some of that information becomes public, there's going to be random people who live out in the middle of the country somewhere, who's never even heard of Bryan Kohberger, have no idea they're a third or fourth or fifth cousin to him, and they're going to be thrust into the spotlight. And you're going to have YouTube channels that think that they have all of the intelligence to piece together these puzzles that don't exist and go and find and stalk out every single piece of information there is to know about these innocent bystanders. And there's going to be literally dozens of people possibly being doxxed, dozens of people being accused of things they didn't do. And I think it's very, very, very dangerous for them to be releasing information about a process that, in my opinion, doesn't really have much to do with the case. They have came out and said that they found out who Bryan Kohberger was independent of the investigative genealogy. They used eyewitness testimony. They used the clue piece that they were able to receive from the Washington State law enforcement agent who searched through all the Hyundai Elantras. There were 2 Hyundai Elantras. They looked up the IDs. The ID online matched Bryan Kohberger. They had Bryan Kohberger's phone number from a previous traffic stop. They did information on his phone. They found out he was in the whereabouts. He matched eyewitness testimony, and it led to an obvious break in the case. And then once they were able to connect his DNA at the crime scene to him, they were able to make an arrest. This, in my opinion, is the route that they go. They didn't figure out who he was by using this investigative genealogy. The prosecution has came out and said, we're not going to use it. When it comes to court, we're not even going to be talking about the investigative genealogy. We're not even going to mention it. And so because of that, we don't need to have any further conversation about it. I agree wholeheartedly. They don't need to hand it over. There are some privacy concerns. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section, and appreciate you watching this video.